Hello, and welcome to PPL D2 Power Rankings for Week 6. I am David, and I am once again by myself. This time it's my fault, not Bird's. I've just been super busy, and so I couldn't really schedule with him. So here I am, it's late, and we're just gonna jump right into this week. Down at the bottom, we have the Nidoqueen Park Rangers, Raikou, once again. But this time, they are hopping off with a win. They actually beat Kyle and the Harlem Gloomtrotters, and they played super well. And I want to touch more on that when we get to Kyle. But all in all, I think Rai played it super well. He brought Helio, which he picked up in free agency, which I'm assuming was for Kyle and the later matches, but it was just really good play. Like, I don't know, maybe it was more Kyle messing up this week than Raikou, but he played it really well. But being 0-5 and winning your first game, while it's great and it's wonderful, I couldn't really justify moving it up considering everything else. But speaking of 1-5s, we can jump right into our next player. We have Shroom and the Parasect remain down at number 11, and they dropped the spot below the player that beat them, being Ellie. And Shroom's loss is a lot of over predictions, maybe. I guess it's over predictions. Lost a lot of health and a lot of turns just predicting switches on the Clefable. And be a good play on Ellie or silly play on Ellie. With Shroom, turns like that, it's hard to really judge. Because especially with post-com as opposed to live-com, because everybody could say, well, I predicted this, well, I predicted that, and both sides were doing that in their videos. I can't tell because I wasn't there for the game, but whether it was a series of turns that Ellie ended up winning, so good on her. And late game, Zangoose almost won it for him, not calking with the Mamoswine and seeing that it lived and could have went for an Earthquake was kind of huge. If that Earthquake went off and T-Tar died, then Zangoose basically won the game. But alas, that's not how it worked out. And Ellie ended up picking up a nice little sweep at the end with the Sandrill, or not sweep per se, but yeah. Not much to it. Just those early turns really hurt Shroom. The Araquanid was really cool. Sticky Barb Zam is not great. It's really just not great. But it's a meme, and memes are cool. Scarf Mawile could have done a lot of work. It was certainly prepared to, but the rest of the game just kind of didn't let it. But yeah, those early turns and then not calking were kind of the big issues with that match. And I don't know how to sort of recommend fixing that aside from calc. But anyway, hopefully he picks up. Shroom's awesome. He's a nice guy, and I want to see him win more. Up next is Slyro, right? Slyro. Yes. Cool. And he played Chi. And there was nothing for a Delphox. Just absolutely nothing. Slowbro can pretend to answer Delphox, but Delphox gets both Solar Beam and Shadow Ball, both of which can really hurt a Slowbro. Especially if it's in like grassy terrain Solar Beam, that could be really scary. It ended up being Shadow Ball, but still. Yeah, it was a really straightforward game from Chi, and Slyro did his best. I didn't I don't remember seeing his side of the battle. Maybe I forgot or maybe I missed it, but I don't recall maybe the sets, but yeah, it was just Chi playing this game super well and not really Slattery messing up anywhere in particular, in my opinion. But yeah, that's that. We could touch on Ellie. The early turns with Clefable and Poliwrath and all that fun stuff were actually really great, like dealing with the Necrozma, and lucky for her, she switched into Poliwrath after 3 turns of not switching out, switches out into Poliwrath and catches the Z Flash Cannon. That was pretty cool. That was really cool. And then from there, it just kind of went and happened. Like, Ellie just used that momentum to push forward. No Z move, and the Clef still being alive meant that everything just could have happened as it did, and not losing T-Tar was fantastic. Saving that was really good. S-Toss Poliwrath with Restock is also neat. Yeah. So, onward, we have the Birmingham Spritzy. What an interesting match. Be it, I forget the actual thing. I think it was Misgen and was supposed to have something, or something happened that made the Salamence much scarier than it actually was. And so the Drum Hariyama is cool. Not having anything in particular for the Salamence on the Hariyama was less cool. And basically just it kind of happened. Oh, the Coco and Lottie plays were adorable, and I loved every single one of them. It was nice, and it could have potentially proven to be a problem for Liam, but yeah, a lot of these games have just been like really meh this week. It's just been a really meh week. Not taking away from any of the wins, of course, and we'll get to the wins in a sec, I guess. But this game was kind of straightforward. Like, there was a lot of little plays, like going into the wrong one. I forget what actually. Oh, miscalculating with the Endeavor. He thought he would drop down, and he did not do so. It did not pop the berry, and that meant that he couldn't drum and this and that and all things I remember now. But anyway, Alex and his team just kind of, I have no words for this game. Like, the berry didn't pop on Hariyama, so it couldn't drum, and then Immense just swept the game, and nothing could be done about it. So, moving on to a win. Carson against Jim. Also a pretty meh game because Carson hit a Hypnosis. Meanwhile, Jim missed a very crucial T-Wave. And if anything didn't want to be asleep, it was the Drapion. And it went to bed. It was also a really straightforward game. Aside from that, it was just Gardevoir putting on a show with Z Hypnosis. Everything just kind of happened, and then at the very end, Scizor doing Scizor things and winning the game. I don't really have much to say. Jim losing because of a miss is really unfortunate, but it happens to everybody. Jim is number 6, but up at number 5, or should I say down from number 2 down to number 5, is the man who got 6-0'd, RTK, and his Portland Timbers. He said that he misgened his Finny and that it did not have haze, and it not having haze proved to be a very big problem because Ashton Akai just kind of wiped the floor with him. Mew just kind of set up and went for game. I think Ashton played it extremely well this week, luring RTK into a false sense of security, showing off Wish, showing off Earthquake, and then out of nowhere just revealing the U-turn to go into the Mew and set up the sweep, and everything was great. And yeah, so it was just really good pivoting, really good play, and RTK just kind of got bamboozled since he didn't have haze to sort of keep the Mew and or the Infernape in check. He lost his choice band, I believe, on the Arcanine, which ended up being really problematic. But all things considered, Ashton played a great game. RTK really tried to, but he couldn't really save the game from the state it was in once Mew got going, which is unfortunate. So moving on, we have number 4 dropping a little bit from 3 is Kyle and the Harlem Gloomtrotters, and under normal circumstances, I guess, I have him above RTK because he didn't get 6-0'd. Be it that Kyle lost to the 0-5 team, and RTK got 6-0'd because of a misgen, technically. It's still, I don't think RTK's loss is, I don't think a 1-0 is as detrimental as a 6-0, therefore Kyle is a little bit higher. But Kyle did not play super great this week. It was not his best showing. He brought some interesting stuff, and he played his team really awkwardly, I feel. The crits certainly didn't help this game. They certainly did not. The crit on the Hydreigon and the crit on the Dusknoir were really unfortunate and really set him back and probably put him on tilt. But the way he played his game super defensively against Rai, and Rai brought this like super aggressive hyper offense team as he tends to with his draft. And Kyle just kind of played super passive. He just let things happen and let Mons get hurt and get weakened, and then roosted up in front of a Celesteela forever until he eventually got crit and got blown back. And then Rai just played super well with Heliolisk, knowing that it was a good Mon, especially with no Stunfisk on the team. And Kyle just kind of got momentum on. Yeah, that's that. Number 3 is Ashton Akai. I talked about him. He played great. Mew is a huge threat, especially when you can really build around it, as Eric seems to have been doing the entire season so far. He's been using Mew quite well in a bunch of different ways, from what I've been noticing anyway. It really got to show its stuff and show off how Genesis Supernova is very scary and very, very spooky. So, up next is the West Chen United, who got the lovely 5-0 as opposed to the 6-0, but one of his Pokemon got all 6 kills, unlike the subpar Mew that only got 5. Salamence was very selfish this week, and Aromatisse doing well. Aromatisse put in a lot of work, and Mence pretty much didn't have to do anything. It just got to come in, click DD twice, and go to town. Aromatisse did all the heavy lifting, set everything up for him. It was really cool. Just a good win on Liam's part. These top 3 just played extremely well, very straightforward, and they all deserve their win, like 100%. We can go into Chi at number 1. Z Shadow Ball Delphox is awesome. A lot of other stuff. The one thing that surprised me was Kieran Black living a corkscrew crash. That was weird, interesting, surprising. A lot of things. I didn't actually run any calcs or like see how that actually happened, but yeah, that didn't do very much to the Kiram, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, Delphox put in a ton of work with Eel sort of pivoting around and bringing it in, and as per usual, Chi played very well, and it's really been Chi's prep that's been sort of winning him all these games and putting him so high up at 5-1. He's just been predicting all the sets. He's been bringing a bunch of very straightforward but very good things, and I think that's really showing in his record and in his placement. But that will be all this week. I'm sorry if it's a little lackluster compared to other weeks. I'm just super busy and super tired, and I hope that next week I can have some company. Maybe I won't mess up, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.